It is 0 hour 30, Universal Time. I'm Jim Tedder in Washington. Shiite lawmakers in Iraq are expected to meet again Monday to decide if Prime Minister Ibrahim al-Jafari will keep his position in the country's next government. The United Iraqi Alliance is under increasing pressure to withdraw Mr. al-Jafari as a candidate. It formed a committee to discuss the issue with Sunni Arab and Kurdish leaders. The leaders oppose Mr. al-Jafari's candidacy. In other news, Iraqi leaders have criticized Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak for saying that Iraq is in a civil war. The Israeli government has officially ended ties with the new Hamas-led Palestinian government. The decision was made Sunday at a cabinet security meeting. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert said Israel would no longer recognize the Hamas-led government or any foreign officials who meet with Hamas leaders. Mr. Olmert also said that Israel would continue attacks aimed at Palestinian militants. 16 people have died in the attacks since Friday. The head of the United Nations Nuclear Agency is expected to visit Iran this week. A spokesman for the Iranian Foreign Ministry says Mohammed el-Baradei will arrive in Iran by the end of this week. He is expected to hold talks on Iran's cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency. Inspectors with the nuclear agency arrived in Iran Friday to visit the country's nuclear facilities in Isfahan. The agency is expected to provide a report to the United Nations Security Council by the end of the month. The report will state if Iran has ended its nuclear programs. Last month, the UN Security Council ordered Iran to halt its nuclear programs. Nepalese security forces have fired guns at anti-government demonstrators in the town of Banepa, east of the capital, Kathmandu. At least one demonstrator was killed. It was the third killing in Nepal since a nationwide strike and anti-government demonstrations were called Thursday. A 7-party political alliance organized the protests against King Gyanendra. They were to end Sunday, but the alliance now says the demonstrations will continue. Rebels supporting the opposition protests have announced their own campaign against the king as well. Thousands of demonstrators have clashed with police in Kathmandu and other cities and towns across Nepal. There is a daytime curfew in effect, and government forces have been ordered to shoot violators. In southern Pakistan, a crowd at a religious gathering has crushed at least 29 women and children. More than 70 others were seriously injured in the incident in Karachi. It happened as the crowd left an Islamic center. At least 20,000 women and children had attended a ceremony there. Local officials say the incident began after a girl fell down in the crowd and a woman tried to help her up. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English. The presidents of Nigeria and the Republic of the Congo have finished talks in Abuja with rebel leaders from Sudan. No progress was reported in solving the conflict in the Darfur area of western Sudan. Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo and Congolese President Denis Sassou Nguesso agreed to hold more talks with rebel leaders. The African Union has set an April 30th time limit for a peace settlement in Darfur. Peace talks between the Sudanese government and rebel groups have gone more than 18 months without any major progress. 3 years of fighting involving rebels, government forces, and allied private militaries in Darfur has killed about 180,000 people. A top United States senator says he believes lawmakers will soon agree to immigration reforms. Senator Arlen Specter appeared on the American television program Fox News Sunday. He says he expects lawmakers will hold new talks on the issue and reach a compromise later this month. American lawmakers are currently on a 2-week holiday. Last week, senators failed to agree on a compromise bill that would have given millions of illegal immigrants the chance to become United States citizens. The House of Representatives is considering a separate bill that calls for more border security. The bill does not include new citizenship measures. Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez has threatened to expel the United States ambassador to the country. Mr. Chavez accused the diplomat of creating problems in Venezuela. On Friday, the American ambassador was forced to leave an aid event. Supporters of Mr. Chavez threw food and rocks at the car of the diplomat. In Italy, voting has ended in the first day of general elections. Voters are choosing between coalitions led by Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi and former Prime Minister Romano Prodi. Election officials say 66% of the people permitted to vote entered ballots. Voting will continue Monday, and first results are expected by the end of the day. Public opinion studies were banned in the days leading up to the election. However, observers say they believe Mr. Prodi's coalition had a small lead over the ruling coalition of Mr. Berlusconi. Hungarians have voted in parliamentary elections. Public opinion studies show a very close competition between the governing Socialist Party coalition and the opposition. Early unofficial results suggest that the opposition Fidesz Hungarian Civic Union is leading with 45% of the votes. The Socialist Party appears to have about 43%, and its allies appear to have won 6% of the votes. Briefly, here again is the major news of the hour. Shiite lawmakers in Iraq will meet again Monday to decide if Prime Minister al-Jafari will keep his position in the country's next government. The Israeli government has officially ended ties with the new Hamas-led Palestinian government. And the head of the United Nations Nuclear Agency, Mohammed al-Baradei, is expected to visit Iran this week. And that's the news in VOA Special English. From Washington, this is Jim Tedder reporting.